Welcome to Grandpa and the Goddess of Poetry. Well, today I'm going to read one of my favourite Shakespeare poems. It's not a sonnet, it's actually a song that is sung in one of his plays, King Henry VIII, one of his plays that isn't performed that often, but I think it's a very, very beautiful song. It's almost my all-time favorite Shakespeare poem, song, whatever you call it. It's the one about Orpheus, the mythical Greek person who he was said to be the son of one of the 9 muses, the performing arts, and Orpheus was endowed with a superhuman talent for playing the lute, the stringed instrument, and he captivated people by doing this. All sorts of strange legends about him. He's said to have gone with Jason and the Argonauts to search for the golden fleece. So many mythical stories are interlinked. But the most poignant story about Orpheus is the one of his love for Eurydice, the beautiful girl who died tragically young, it was said, of a snake bite. And Orpheus was so transfixed with grief that he asked the gods to allow him to rescue her from the underworld. And that's what he did. The gods allowed him to go down to the underworld, where he charmed the king of the underworld into letting him take Eurydice away. But there was one condition put on this by the gods, that he was not to look back and he was not to look at Eurydice. And he followed these instructions, and they were almost out of the underworld. And Orpheus, for some reason, I think it was, he wanted to tell Eurydice how beautiful the world looked to him now. And he turned to her, and everything was ruined, and Eurydice was taken straight back to the underworld, and Orpheus was, of course, once again grief-stricken. Terrible, sad story. One doesn't quite know the meaning of some of these myths. I think the message was that you must obey the gods at all costs if you want them to help you. Poor Orpheus learnt the hard way. Anyway, I'm going to read this beautiful song by Shakespeare. Here we are. It's in my commonplace book, the book where ever since I was at school I've been writing my favorite poems, and this is definitely one of them. Here we are. Orpheus with his lute made trees, and the mountain tops that freeze bow themselves when he did sing. To his music plants and flowers ever sprung, as sun and showers there had made a lasting spring. Everything that heard him play, even the billows of the sea, hung their heads and then lay by. In sweet music is such art, killing care and grief of heart fall asleep, or hearing die. I think that's an astonishingly beautiful bit of writing. It's something I've never understood about Shakespeare. Perhaps someone can enlighten me and make a comment about it. That Shakespeare, when he was writing his plays, he was writing for his words to be simply heard, not to be read. I mean, printing was really in its infancy when Shakespeare was writing and putting plays on. And though his sonnets, for example, were written to be read and they were published in book form, his plays were very much sort of one-off things that people went to the theatre to hear and probably never got a chance to read until years after Shakespeare himself had died. Very few of his plays were actually published during his lifetime. And it just seems so extraordinary to me that there's so much deep meaning in these beautiful pieces of poetry you find all over his plays that were just sort of heard in those slightly sort of noisy, one imagines, Elizabethan theatres. And that was it. But it didn't stop Shakespeare putting so much beauty and hidden meaning into so many of his beautiful works. What a man he was. I'm going to read this again. Orpheus with his lute made trees, and the mountain tops that freeze bow themselves when he did sing. To his music plants and flowers ever sprung, as sun and showers there had made a lasting spring. Everything that heard him play, even the billows of the sea, hung their heads and then lay by. In sweet music is such art, killing care and grief of heart, fall asleep, or hearing, die. Gosh, they say test of great poetry is when it sends a shiver down your spine. And that poem does it for me. Thank you for listening.